Welcome to the North Idaho Market Watch. I'm Michio Tower, a realtor in North Idaho. My husband, Steve, and I are a husband and a wife team with extensive experience in real estate investments, including both short-term and long-term properties. We have built our dream home and helped countless others achieve their real estate aspirations. I will share the market update specifically in North Idaho.
Welcome to North Idaho Market Watch by Michio Tower. Today we're looking closely at the real estate market, specifically focusing on the data from July 2025. And this conversation, it's really tailored for you, the potential buyer, especially if you're maybe dreaming about finding a previously owned home. We're talking Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, or Hayden, right here in Kootenai County. Our goal today is simple. Cut through the noise, get you the important stuff, the actionable insights. We want you feeling confident about making decisions, not, overwhelmed by numbers.
That's a great mission, and it's really essential for anyone looking to buy right now. The market for existing homes, it often has its own dynamics, quite different sometimes from new construction. So understanding those nuances, invaluable. We're going to give you that focused picture specifically for those resale properties. Make sure you have the precise info you need.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Let's unpack this. What does July 2025 really tell us about new listings and sales activity for these previously owned homes in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and Hayden? First up, new listings. Are we seeing more homes actually hitting the market, more choice for buyers?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the clearer signals in the July data. We definitely saw an uptick, a noticeable one, in new listings for previously owned homes. So in July 2025, listings were up 6.8% compared to last July. That's 648 homes versus 607 the year before. So yeah, about 41 more homes just in that month.
41 more.
And year date, that trend holds, up 7.6%. We went from about 3,960 last year to over 4,260 this year. So yeah, over 300 more homes listed so far this year. It really does mean more options on the table for you as a buyer.
Okay, more options coming on. But are they just sitting there, or are they actually moving? What about pending sales, homes going under contract, and closed sales? Are deals actually getting done?
Right, good question. And yes, they are moving. Pending sales for these homes also saw a pretty healthy increase, up 4.9%. That's 407 homes going under contract in July this year, compared to 388 last July. So buyers are definitely still active making offers.
Okay.
And that follows through to closed sales, too. They increased by 6.6% year over year for previously owned homes. Went from 364 last July to 388 this July. Year to date, closed sales are up a bit, too, about 1.9%. So yeah, it's a clear sign of a market that's actively transacting, not just listing.
So let me get this straight. More homes listed, more going under contract, and more actually closing. Sounds like a pretty active market, lots of movement. But does that translate into a bigger pool of homes for a buyer to actually choose from at any given time, or are they just getting snapped up really fast?
That's the key, isn't it? And the overall inventory picture, it's actually quite encouraging for buyers right now. We saw a really significant increase in the total inventory of previously owned homes for sale, up 12.3%. That's going from roughly 1,670 homes available last July to almost 1,870 this July. So yeah, a big jump in the number of homes just sitting there waiting for a buyer.
Wow, 12.3% increase in inventory. That's substantial.
It is. It means a pipeline isn't just moving faster. It's also, getting fuller. This absolutely suggests a healthier flow compared to some of the really tight periods we've seen. It genuinely offers you, as a potential buyer, more choices, more variety, maybe a chance to be a bit more selective.
So does that mean we're heading towards what they call a balanced market? Or maybe even tipping towards a buyer's market where you've got more leverage?
Well, that brings us right to the month's supply of inventory metric. It's a great indicator for that balance question. Basically, it tells us how long it would take to sell everything currently listed if nothing new came on the market. For these previously owned homes, the supply increased by 5.3%. It went from 5.7 months last July to 6.0 months this July.
6 months, exactly.
Yeah, and traditionally, 6 months is often seen as that sort of balanced market point, neither strongly favoring buyers nor sellers. So while it's up, giving you more options, it's not like this huge oversupply signaling, big price drop or a total buyer's paradise. It really just means a bit more breathing room compared to that intense seller's market we had.
Okay, more breathing room. So what does this all mean for you, the person thinking about buying? Does this increased inventory really give you more time, more space to make a careful decision? Or is it still pretty fast-paced out there?
It's a bit nuanced, honestly. When you connect it all, yes, inventory is up, more options. But, and this is important, prices are still holding firm. showing resilience. And homes, especially the really desirable ones, are still moving pretty quickly. So it's not really a market where you can afford to drag your feet indefinitely, even with more choices available. Think of it maybe like shifting from an all-out sprint to maybe a quick jog, not quite a leisurely stroll yet.
That's a really important distinction because more options can sometimes make people think, oh, great, prices must be falling or homes are sitting forever. But the data seems to paint a more complex picture. So let's dig into that. If there are more homes, why aren't prices falling much? What are the actual price trends?
Right. It's one of the interesting points in this market right now.
Right.
Let's look at the median sales price for previously owned homes. In July 2025, it was $554,625. Now, that's actually a slight increase, just 0.8%, from $550,000 last July. So still ticking upwards, even if just a little bit month over month.
Barely moved month over month then.
Right. But if you look year to date, the median price is up 4.9%. It went from $510,000 to $535,000. So overall, prices are still appreciating. That resilience, even with more inventory, it really suggests that the underlying demand here in North Idaho is still incredibly strong. Maybe continued interest from out-of-area buyers, the general appeal of the region is holding values up.
Okay. Median is up slightly year over year, a bit more year to date. What about the average sales price? Does that tell a different story? Sometimes high-end sales can pull that number up.
It does add another layer, absolutely.
Right.
The average sales price for these homes hit $737,411 in July 2025. That's a 2.7% increase from about $718,000 last July. But look at the year-to-date average, that's an even bigger jump, up 8.6%. From roughly $635,000 to almost $690,000.
Wow, 8.6% increase in the average year to date. That's significant.
It is. It suggests that while the middle of the market, the median, is more stable, higher-priced homes are still selling well and potentially pulling that overall average up. It could mean strength in the luxury segment or maybe just more sales of, nicely updated properties. It hints at a strong value proposition for premium homes.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for you as a potential buyer. Prices are still creeping up, especially that average. So how fast are homes actually selling? Are they flying off the market, or do you get a chance to actually breathe and consider?
Well, this is another one of those slightly counterintuitive points. The days on market until sale actually decreased. For previously owned homes, it dropped 8.0%. From 75 days last July down to 69 days this July.
Down, even with more inventory.
Exactly. Down 8%. Now, 69 days might sound like, okay, over 2 months, but that drop is key. It tells us that the good ones, prime location, updated, priced right, they're still getting snapped up faster than last year. The year-to-date average days on market is actually slightly up by just 1.3%, but that recent July number, 69 days, that reflects the current heat. It suggests that if you find that perfect home, you probably still need to be ready to move.
So definitely not a market where homes are just languishing for months and months, especially the desirable ones. And when they do go under contract, are sellers having to give big discounts, or are buyers still paying close to list price?
They're still paying very close to list. The percent of list price received is remarkably steady and high. It was 97.5% in July 2025. That's actually up just a tiny bit, 0.1% from 97.4% last July. Year to date, it's also up slightly, 0.3%, sitting at 97.4%. So what this tells you is sellers are getting almost exactly what they're asking for on average. Buyers aren't finding huge bargains or having a lot of room for, lowball offers generally. It reinforces that strong demand.
So this really raises an important point for you, the potential buyer. We've got more inventory, a bit more balance maybe with that 6-month supply figure. But the market for previously owned homes in Coeur, Post Falls, Hayden, it still feels competitive, right? Homes selling relatively fast, near asking price. Demand seems strong.
Exactly. It's not quite the buyer's market some might hope for when they hear inventory's up. And that ties into affordability. Let's look at the Housing Affordability Index for these homes. In July 2025, it was stable at 62, same as July 2024.
Okay, 62. What does that number actually mean in practical terms? Is higher better or lower better?
Higher is better for affordability. An index of 100 means the median income family has exactly enough income to qualify for the median priced home. So 62 means the median family income is only about 62% of what's needed to qualify for that median priced home under standard assumptions. It highlights that affordability is still a significant consideration for many buyers in this area.
Got it. So 62 means it's still a stretch for the typical household, and it held steady month over month.
Yes, steady from last July. But if you look year to date, The index actually decreased by 4.5%. It went from 67 down to 64. So over the course of a year so far, homes have become slightly less affordable relative to incomes. It's a subtle shift, but important when you're budgeting.
Okay, putting it all together then. More homes available, which is good news.
Yeah.
But they're still selling pretty fast. Prices are holding or even climbing slightly. Sellers are getting close to asking. What does this mean for you, the actual person trying to buy a home right now in Coeur, Post Falls, or Hayden? Based on all this July data, what are the concrete things you should be doing? What should you prepare for?
Okay, yeah, let's boil it down to some clear, actionable takeaways for you. First, even with more inventory, you absolutely need to be prepared for competition. Yes, there are more homes, great. But those metrics, the decreasing days on market, the high list price received, they tell a story. The desirable homes, good condition, good location, priced right, they're still moving very quickly.
Yeah.
So this isn't the time to assume you can just casually browse for weeks and mull it over endlessly. When you find one you love, one that fits, you likely need to be ready to act decisively.
Right. So manage expectations. Don't assume it's suddenly easy street just because inventory numbers are up. Speed is still a factor for the best listings.
Precisely. Second point, really get a handle on the pricing. Yes, the median didn't jump massively month over month, but it's still up year to date. And that average price increase is significant. So budget accordingly. Don't go in assuming prices are about to tumble. And understand that the average being higher might mean that the kinds of homes many people are looking for may be updated, maybe slightly larger, might be closer to that higher average figure than the overall median. Know your specific market segment.
It makes sense. And finances, always crucial, especially with affordability being, well, still tight, maybe even a bit tighter year to date. What's the advice there?
That's number 3, and it's fundamental. Get your financial house in perfect order. Now, with affordability where it is, you must be financially ready. That means getting pre-approved for your mortgage before you seriously start looking at homes. I can't stress this enough. Pre-approval isn't just a piece of paper. It shows sellers you're serious, you're capable. It makes your offer stronger. And, maybe more importantly, it gives you a crystal clear picture of what you can truly, comfortably afford. No guesswork. That lets you focus your search and move fast when you find the right place, without that financial uncertainty hanging over you.
Absolutely critical. Strong pre-approval is almost like step 1. And finally, navigating all these nuances, more inventory, but still fast sales, stable but tricky affordability, feels like having a guide would be invaluable, right?
100%. That's our 4th piece of advice, and maybe the most critical for success right now. Work with a local expert. Seriously. Understanding these specific conditions, inventory up, but speed still matters, prices resilient, affordability tight, it demands real local insight. You need someone who lives and breathes the Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and Hayden markets. Someone who can help you understand neighborhood values, spot the real opportunities among the increased listings, and crucially, help you craft a winning offer. In a market like this, where being prepared and strategic pays off, their expertise is what turns this data into your actual advantage.
Okay, so the bottom line for potential buyers seems to be, yes, there are more previously owned homes coming onto the market in Kootenai County, which is positive, but the market's still very active. Values are holding strong, so preparation, getting your finances sorted, and being ready to act decisively, those are still your best tools.
Absolutely. Understanding these July numbers is that vital first step. But for truly personalized advice, figuring out how these trends impact your specific search and budget, we strongly recommend reaching out to an expert, someone who knows this North Idaho market inside and out and can tailor a strategy just for you.
And for more insights like the ones we discussed today, or if you just have questions about the North Idaho real estate market, you can always reach out to Michio Tower. Her contact information is right there for you in the video description section below. Easy to find.